chapter 13 of Wish by Barbara O'Connor. So far we're up to chapter 12, and Charlie still hasn't caught Wishbone yet, but she's still living with Bertha and Gus and Colby. And I'm kind of curious what the next couple of days or weeks will hold for Charlie as we continue with our story. Alright, so my question from last time was, did you have a nickname? I'm looking forward to check in with those answers. We're going to get started with chapter 13 of Wish. Chapter 13. And so my life in Colby, North Carolina marched on, rumbling down the mountain on the school bus beside Howard, ignoring those hillbilly kids who wouldn't give me the time of the day, playing Bible detective at church, waiting for Wishbone to eat hot dogs from the pie tin, gazing up at the stars on the porch with Gus and Bertha, and making my wish every day. Jackie called every once in a while to tell me about her happy life back in Raleigh. She was going to the prom with that boy Arlo. She and Carl Lee might work at the Waffle House this summer. She got a fake tattoo of a butterfly on her ankle. I told her about Wishbone and how he was going to be mine, and she asked me if I really thought that was a good idea, and I told her yes, it was a very good idea, and that was that. I'd seen Wishbone 3 more times, sniffing at trash in the parking lot of the Dairy Freeze, trotting along Highway 14 in the rain, and eating something out of a paper bag underneath a picnic table beside Bushy Creek. Twice I'd found the pie tin in the trap empty, but I hadn't seen him anywhere nearby. Luckily, there were only 2 more weeks of school left, and then I would have my days free to spend more time by the trap. But I was beginning to worry that Wishbone was never going to be mine. Maybe I was wasting my time even thinking about it. I heard Wishbone barking last night, Howard said. One day while we sat on the old couch by his front porch eating popsicles. How do you know it was him? I asked. I just know, Howard said. We're never going to catch him, I said. Gus was right. He just likes being a stray. Don't be a quitter, Howard said. I'm not a quitter. Yes, you are. I stamped my foot. I am not. Howard licked the melted popsicle off the side of his hand and said to me, pineapple. I flopped back against the sofa and hurled my popsicle stick out into the yard. That pineapple plan of his was starting to get on my nerves. Oh, good gravy, Charlie said. Don't be a baby. I'm not a baby, I hollered. Howard shrugged. You're sure acting like one, he said. Just then, Miss Odom came out on the porch, wiping her hands on a dish towel. But my temper had a hold on me. I could not shake it. I also could not stop myself from yelling. Well, at least I'm not a squirrel-eating hillbilly like you. Then I stomped down those steps, marched across the yard, climbed on Lenny's bike, and raced up the road towards Gus and Bertha's. When I got there, I dropped the bike in the yard and headed for the house. But as I reached the front door, I heard something over by the trap. I turned to look and couldn't believe my eyes. Wishbone was in there, gobbling up that meatloaf and french fries. I didn't waste one more second. I raced across the yard and I slammed the door of the trap shut with a bang. Wishbone let out a yelp and jumped clear of the ground. Then he slinked back into the corner and hung his head, dragging his ears on the ground. He looked so scared that it just about broke my heart. Hey, Wishbone, I whispered. He pushed against that chicken wire so hard I was afraid he might burst right through it. I got some more meatloaf, I said. He cocked his head. Wait right here, I said. I'll be back. I closed the latch on that door trap and hurried inside the house, calling out for Bertha. We nearly collided when I darted into the kitchen. She clutched her heart and said, Charlie, Lordy, you scared the dickens out of me. I got him, I hollered. I got Wishbone. I yanked the refrigerator door open and took out a foil-wrapped slice of meatloaf and ran back out into the yard. Bertha ran after me, calling, I knew it! I knew my meatloaf would do the trick. When we got to the trap, Wishbone was digging at the ground beside the wire like he was trying to dig a hole clear through to China. Dirt and pebbles flew out behind him. When he saw us, he stopped and backed up into the far corner of that trap again. I unwrapped the foil. I brought you more meatloaf, I said. He let out a little whine, soft and pitiful. I could hear Bertha telling me to be careful and don't stick my fingers through that chicken wire and stuff like that, but I kept my eyes on Wishbone and told him not to be scared. Then I stuck a piece of meatloaf through the wire near him and waited. His nose twitched. As a meatloaf smell drifted his way, he stood up and sniffed it some more. Come on, Wishbone. It's for you. He took one step forward, keeping his eyes on the meatloaf. He took another step and then another until he was right at my hand. Then he snatched that meatloaf, swallowed it in one whole gulp, and wagged his tail. Wag, wag, wag. 3 tiny wags like he was thanking me. I turned to Bertha. Did you see that? I asked. Bertha nodded. I sure did. I confess, I thought you were going to lose a finger or two. She reached into the pocket of her apron and pulled out 2 saltine crackers. Why don't you give him these? She said. I gave Wishbone the crackers, and after he gobbled them up, he looked at me and wagged his tail again. Then Bertha helped me look for the collar that Gus had made from an old leather belt of his. We got rope from the garden shed and tied it to the collar. I ran back inside and got a bunch more food. Some cereal, a piece of raisin bread, a couple of slices of bologna. Then I raced back out to the trap, with Bertha not far behind calling, "Wait for me!" All right, friends, that's chapter 13 of Wish by Barbara O'Connor. Okay, so Charlie has a wishbone in the trap now. Do you think she's going to be able to get that collar on him? Do you think she's being brave or not so very smart trying to catch a stray dog that way? All right, friends, I miss you like crazy. Stay kind, stay patient. Please practice social distancing because I want to see you sooner rather than later. All right, bye, friends. I'll see you next time.